And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Olive, Nina, and Esme. Olive, Nina, and Esme made Cinderella do all the chores. "Sweep the floors, wash the dishes," said Olive, Nina, and Esme. One day, the king of Onlyville's messenger said, hear ye, the king of Onlyville is going to throw a ball. And whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Singling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Olive said, he's going to marry me. Nina said, no way, Olive. He's going to marry me. Esme said, both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad that she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Singling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and asks Cinderella what is wrong. Why are you crying, Cinderella? She asks. Cinderella responds, I wanted her to go to the ball and marry Prince Singling, but I'm not welcome. The fairy godmother waved her wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! And then, Cinderella's chores are all done. But the fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has one pumpkin. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! Again, and to turn Cinderella's do-rag and clothes into a gown. I've never seen such a wonderful gown. I get a load of my glass slippers, and then the pumpkin into a carriage drawn by 2 strong horses. The fairy godmother said, have fun, Cinderella, but I will warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Singling was wondering who he should marry. Olive, Nina, and Esme said all together, he's walking towards me. But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Singling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Singling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled around Onlyville to find her and brought the glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the house where her Cinderella and her stepsisters lived. He said, ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try this glass slipper? Olive is first, but her foot is too big. Nina is next, but her foot is too small. Esme is last, but her foot didn't fit either. Suddenly, Prince Singling noticed Cinderella singing. Winterella said. Prince Singling, is that you? Prince Singling said, of course it's me. Winterella gets so excited because she's having to have her Prince Singling back. And they lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story before bed enters doors. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to my video. Take care. Bye and good night, everybody. Andrew's Doers. Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Tina, Winona, and Una. Tina, Winona, and Una made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tina, Winona, and Una all together. One day, the king of Doubleburg's messenger said, Hear ye, the king of Doubleburg, his majesty, is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and cross shall marry his son, Prince Twinning. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsister, Tina said, he's going to marry me. Winona said, no way, Tina, he's going to marry me. Una said, both of you are wrong, he's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is very sad that she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Twinning. And her fairy godmother asks Cinderella what's wrong by saying, why are you crying, Cinderella? Cinderella responds, and sadly, I wanted to go to the ball and marry Prince Twinning. Her fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of double magic. She waves her magic wand and chants the magic words, dibbly dabbly doubly do. And all of Cinderella's chores are done, but the fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 2 pumpkins. The fairy godmother waves her magic wand and chants the magic words, dibbly dabbly doubly do. Again, turning the 2 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 2 strong horses, and then Cinderella's clothes into a gown and crown. I have never seen such a double-tasted gown. And get a lot of my glass slippers. Cinderella is now ready for the ball. Her fairy godmother said, have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Twinning was wondering who he should marry. Cinderella, of course. Tina, Winona, and Una shout out together, he's walking towards me! But he's not. But he is walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Twinning danced happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she screamed out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Twinning was so worried, afraid that she might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Doubleburg to find her, and brought the 2 glass slippers with him. He knocked on the door where Cinderella, Tina, Winona, and Una lived. But instead of Cinderella, he found Tina, Winona, and Una. Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on these 2 glass slippers? Prince Twinning asks. Tina is first, but her feet are too big. Winona is next, but her feet are too small. Una is last, but her feet are on the right size of her. Suddenly, Prince Twinning noticed Tuarella's sweet singing. Tuarella shouts excited, "Prince Twinning, is that you?" Prince Twinning responded, "Of course it's me. You are from my father's ball. I love you. Will you marry me?" Tuarella gets so excited because he's happy to have Prince Twinning back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and buy our merchandise. Take care. Bye. Oh, yeah. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. What? Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 4 ugly, mean stepsisters named Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona. Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors. Wash the dishes. Do it all. Said Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona all together. One day, the king and Quadrillion Hand's messengers said, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Quadrillion Hand is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Forting." But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. "He's going to marry me," said Fiona. Ophelia said, "No way, Fiona! He's going to marry me." Ursula said, "Both of you are wrong! He's going to marry me." Ramona said, "All 3 of you are wrong! He's going to marry me." Later, Cinderella is so sad because she can't go to the ball and marry Prince 14, while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, "Why are you crying, Cinderella?" Cinderella responds, "I got lots of chores to be done. I can't go to the ball and marry Prince 14. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, "I can help with a bit of magic." Cinderella's fairy godmother chants the magic words, "Quiddity, quaddity, quaddity, quoo," and waves her magic wand. Because of that, all of Cinderella's chores are all done. But Cinderella's fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, "Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin." Luckily, Cinderella has 4 pumpkins. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, and then chants the magic words, "Quiddity, quaddity, quaddity, quoo," and waves her magic wand to turn the 4 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 8 strong horses. And then Cinderella's clothes into a gathered crowd. Cinderella said, "I've never seen such a quadtastic gown. And get a lot of my glass slippers." Her fairy godmother said, "Have fun, mighty Cinderella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will turn back to the way it was before." Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Fortune was wondering who he should marry. Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona said all together, "He's walking towards me." But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince 14 dance happily together, but later, Forella realizes it's midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince 14 was so worried that he might never see Forella again. So he traveled all around Quadrillaca to find her. I brought the 2 tiny glass slippers with him. He knocked on the door of the home where Forella and her stepsisters live, but instead of Forella, he finds Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona. He then said, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you try on these glass slippers? Fiona is first, but her feet are too big." Ophelia said, "But her feet are too small." Ursula and Ramona did the same thing, but their feet don't fit either. Suddenly, Prince 14 notices Swarla's sweet singing. "The glass slippers fit!" Forella gets so excited because she's happy to have her Prince 14 back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And if you want to see some sequels, tell your friends about it. And then, take care, Andrew Stores. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 5 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha. Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha all together. Then one day, the king of Autolehand's messenger arrives and says, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Autolehand is going to throw a ball. And whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Autobling." But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. They then argue over who will Prince Autobling marry. Later, Cinderella is so sad that she can't go to the ball and marry Prince Autobling while doing chores. Suddenly, her fairy godmother asks Cinderella what's wrong by saying, "Why are you crying, Cinderella?" Cinderella responds, "I got lots of chores to do, but I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Autobling." Cinderella's fairy godmother said, "I can help with a bit of magic," and waved her magic wand. Because of that, Cinderella's chores are all done, but her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, "Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin." Luckily, Cinderella has a pumpkin. Cinderella's fairy godmother waved her magic wand again to turn the 8 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 16 strong horses, and then Cinderella's ripped clothes into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, "I've never seen such an A terrific gown! Get a load of my glass slippers! Her fairy godmother said, Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Ottoman was wondering who he should marry. Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha say all together, He's walking towards me! But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Ottoman danced happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Ottoman was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Ottoman had to find her and brought the 2 glass slippers with him. By the time he arrives, he knocks on the door of the house where Cinderella, Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha lived. But instead of Cinderella, he finds Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha. He then says, Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you try on these glass slippers? Eliza is first, but her foot is too big. Isabella is next, but her foot is too small. The rest did the same, but none of their feet were the right size. Suddenly, Prince Ottoman notices Cinderella's sweet saying, The glass slippers fit! And Cinderella gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Ottoman back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. And Andrew Stewards, I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merch and Dice too. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrew Knows Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young adult girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 7 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Sophia, Isabella, Xavier, Tina, Eliza, Eloisa, and Nina. Most of them constantly made fun of Cinderella. They made her do all the chores. 16er wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! Said Sophia to Nina. One day, the king of sex to Compilingham's messenger arrived and said, Hear ye, hear ye! The king of sex to Complingham is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Sexta Coupling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. They then argue over who will marry Prince Sexta Coupling. Later, Prince Cinderella is so sad doing chores about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Sexta Coupling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother asks Cinderella what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, Cinderella? In which Cinderella responds, I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Sexta Coupling, but I have lots of chores to be done. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. She chants the magic words. Sextidentity, sextidentity, sextu, and waves her magic wand. Because of that, 16 chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet, she said. 16 go fetch me a pumpkin and some ice. Luckily, 16 has 16 pumpkins and 32 mice. 16 fairy godmother chants the magic words. Sextidentity, sextidentity, sextu, and waves her magic wand again to turn the 16 pumpkins into a handsome coach. The 32 mice into horses, and then 16 ripped clothes into a gown and crown. 16 said, I've never seen such a sexticable-tastic gown! And get a load of my glass slippers! Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? 16 fairy godmother said, well, you can't. But have fun, 16 But I will warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before. And so, 16 accepts the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Sexticone was wondering who he should marry. Sophia to Nina say all together, he's walking towards me! But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards 16 Prince Sexticone then asks, may I have this dance? Prince Sexticone responds, I would be delighted. 16 and Prince Sexticone dance happily together. But later, 16 realizes it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Sexticone was really worried that he might never see 16 again. So he traveled all around Sexticone to find her and brought the glass slippers with him. By the time he arrives, he knocks on the door of the home where 16 and her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 16 Prince Sexticone finds Sophia to Nina. He then said, ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on these glass slippers? Sophia is first, but her feet are too big. Isabella is next, but her feet are too small. The rest did the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince Sexticone notices 16 sweet singing. The glass slippers fit! 16 gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Sexticone back, and they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Knows Everything, and buy our merchandise at AndrewKnowsEverything.com. Take care! Bye! And now, Andrew Knows Everything proudly presents 77 Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a plot twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young woman named 77 Cinderella. 77 Cinderella had 12 ugly, mean, and wicked stepsisters named Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Emma, Natalia, Tasha, Yelena, Sophia, Ella, Valeria, Eleonora, and Nina. 12 of them constantly made fun of 77 and always made her do all the chores. 77, wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! Said the 12 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters all together. And then one day, the king of 77ville's messenger arrives and says, hear ye, that king of 77ville is going to throw a ball in Lhasa with his son, Prince Septa Gin Toppling. Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Emma, Natalia, Tasha, Yadina, Sophia, Ella, Valeria, Eleanor, and Nina ran with huge excitement and picked out dresses to wear to the ball, but argue over who Prince Septa Gin Toppling fall in true love with. Later, 77-year-old is distraught, upset, and sad about not going to the ball. Whatever will I do? She whimpers. Suddenly, 77-year-old's fairy godmother arrives and comforts her. There, now, 77-year-old, I can turn you into a princess with a bit of magic. Nobody will know it's you, she said. 77-year-old's fairy godmother waves her magic wand to do all the chores for 77-year-old, turn her attire into a princess's attire, and even a pair of glass slippers appear on her feet. 77-year-old says, I've never seen such a gin-tastic gown, and I love my new glass slippers. But how am I going to get to the ball? Fortunately, 77-year-old's fairy godmother turned 77 pumpkins and 150 mice into a handsome coach drawn by horses. 77-year-old says, Oh, fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? Says 77-year-old. Her fairy godmother says, Well, you can't. But I had fun, 77-year-old. But I will warn you to return home before midnight. That's when the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before. And so, 77-year-old accepts the warning. At the ball, the wise and kind king of 77ville asks, Wondering who's your true love? Prince Septa Gin Toppling, in which Prince Septa Gin Toppling responds, Yes, father. 77-year-old arrives at the ball just in time. Prince Septa sees who is his true love. Walks straight towards her. He's walking towards me, said Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Natalia, Emma, Tasha, Yadina, Sophia, Ella, Valeria, Eleanor, and Nina all together, but Prince Septa Gin Toppling is not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards 77-year-old. He then says, You must be my true love, 77-year-old. May I please have this dance? Yes, said 77-year-old, overjoyed. And so, 77-year-old and Prince Septa Gin Toppling dance. Hamlet sing 77-year-old as they dance, while the wise and kind King 77-year-old watches them happily. Come on, 77-year-old, let's dance together. We'll be best friends forever. Who else could it be when both of us are in 77 heaven? Come on, Prince Septa Gin Toppling, let's dance together. We'll be best friends forever. We're both in 77 heaven. But soon, 77-year-old realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. The next day, the king of 77ville and Prince Septa Gin Toppling traveled all around the neighborhood, 77ville, to find 77-year-old who captured Prince Septa Gin Toppling's heart and brought the glass slippers she lost with them. If they can find Prince Septa's true love, that they can get married. By the time they arrive, they knock on the door of the home where 77-year-old and her ugly, mean, and wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 77-year-old, they find her ugly, mean, and wicked stepsisters, Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Emma, Natalia, Tasha, Yadina, Sofia, Ella, Valeria, Eleanor, and Nina. Prince Sata then says, "Ladies, my father, the king of 77ville, and I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this leopard? Sabrina, the oldest stepsister, is first, but her foot is too big. Estrella is next, but her foot is too small." "Nonsense! It fits!" she said. The rest did the same thing, but none of their feet are the right size either. Just then, 77 arrives. She looks rather familiar. She then tries the glass slipper on and transforms back into a princess. And the king of 77ville and Prince such a Jin live happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and it everything. And I've also been debating on completing number of Cinderella parodies in the 70s of a tradition. Maybe I could do it a daily tradition that the numbers that start with the number 7. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and everything. Buy our merchandise at everything.com. Andrews Doers. Take care. Bye.